Hello, beautiful awakening souls. Jason again with some more Sasquatch story, Sasquatch Chronicles number 7. So, 6 previous videos. If you haven't seen them, be a good idea to go back and watch them now. Or if you like this one, go back and watch them and like, follow, and subscribe for the rest of what I share. It's going to be a lot more than just Sasquatch stories too. I got some really cool tips and different things I'm going to start dropping. So, with that, no further ado, I will get to it. So, if you followed, you'd know that I was on this camping trip. I was attending a BFRO expedition, and I had rented the entire campground with my friends a few days earlier. Then the BFRO was showing up, and we had quite a bit of action. So there you go, you're caught up a little bit. Anyway, so this part starts on the day when the BFRO people showed up. So I don't remember how many people. I want to say it's probably somewhere between 40 and 60 people showed up, and you know, a few of them were the organizers. So once they got there, we were very excited to share what was going on. We're like, they're already here. We're like, yeah, we've had action the last what was it, 2 nights? I think we were there 2 full nights before they showed up, and we're like, we've had a bunch of stuff happen the last 2 nights. And they're like, oh great, tell us about it. So we shared it with them, and we're sharing all these stories, and because it was more like, you know, energetic and metaphysical experiences and stuff, and sort of physical but not really, they weren't really interested. It was really funny, and they were like, so we told them everything, and they're just kind of like, oh, okay, well, let's set up the speakers and play the whale sounds. And we're like, why? They're like, well, we got to get them to come. We got to attract them. We're like, they're already here. They've been here for 2 nights already. Okay, but we got to play the whale sounds. We're like, what does whale sounds have to do with attracting a Sasquatch that's already here? We don't need to do that shit. And like, it's frankly insulting to them that we think that. Like, they're not dumb monkeys, but that's what they think, right? So anyways, kind of back and forth, and it was just like talking to a wall. So we're like, okay, whatever. So at that point, we're just kind of like, well, whatever, it's their show. We're going to let them do what they want to do. Now, one thing I hadn't mentioned in any previous videos, the trailer was parked next to this old, like, I don't know what it was, like an old storage shed. It was probably like 30 or 40 years old. It kind of looked like a tiny log cabin, but it was just like, it's completely empty inside and open. So my trailer was parked right beside that. So we decided to move up to a different part of the campground and away from that trailer. So everything that was happening was right by that little storage facility, whatever it would be, that little shed. So we moved, and yeah, and then that night went on, and yeah, nothing really eventful happened the rest of the day. That night, nothing happened. Maybe some shadows in the trees, but nothing like solid. Next day comes, and there was one point in the day where, so this campground we were at, it was a group campground, and the gate is locked. When you rent the campground, you got the whole thing. It's not like people just show up. So, and everybody knew each other. We'd all met, and everybody was there as part of the retreat or expedition, right? So, sometime in the afternoon, these 2 guys start come walking in, and they weren't part of our group, and they stood out like a sore thumb. These guys were, you know, what I can remember from them, they were really, really lean. They're older guys, like probably in their 50s. Looked like they're in really good shape, and it was interesting. It looked like they were dressed up to play a role. Like, it was so fishy. They had these like kind of military looking hiking boots that were like super clean, like almost polished, or had been polished at some point, you know, like black, like, but I mean, sure, you can get those anywhere. Cargo shorts, and like kind of khaki matching golf shirts. Like, it just looked weird. Something wasn't right. And they just come walking up, and they're like, and the friends that I was there with, we were like kind of suspicious of everything. So we're like, we just go up to them right away, and they're like, hey, can we help you? Like, we have a private event here. And they're like, oh, sorry, we're just filming a documentary, and we're looking for places to shoot. We just wanted to look around for a minute. And we're like, oh, okay, what kind of documentary? And I can't remember what they said. It was BS. Like, it was fishy. And they were particularly interested in the area around that shed. That's really all they looked at. Like, they were looking all around it. Didn't really care about anything else. And so I don't know what to think about that, like why they just suddenly show up. But like, it was weird. And then they kind of hung around that shed area, walked around the rest of the campground a little bit, and then took off. Strange. Then I think it was that night. So we're at our campfire, and again, like, and it's really organized. Like, there's two areas within the campground, kind of connected with a road, and nobody goes between the campgrounds without going on a walkie-talkie and saying, "Hey, we're coming up," just for safety reasons and stuff. And we all had walkie-talkies. So in the middle of the night, like, I don't know, say midnight, 12:30, suddenly we see somebody walking up to our area carrying a flashlight, and we're like, "What the hell? That's a tad odd." So Chad and Craig and I jump up and we go to meet this person with the flashlight because nobody had radioed saying they were coming. And as we approach, like, you could see this guy. It was like this guy who was wearing like a Fish and Wildlife uniform. I can't remember what they were called back then. They changed the name every year, it seems, but wearing like a uniform for like a parks guy. And we're like, "Hey, can we help you?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just here counting campsites and making sure all the tents are paid for." And we're like, "What? Somebody was here and did that already." He's like, "Well, I haven't done it. Like, that might have been the campground operator, but I need to do it." And we're like, "At midnight? Like, it's 12:30, dude." And he's like, no, it has to be done." So we're like, all right, weird. And we kind of quizzed them, and it was weird. There's a few weird things. So like, he didn't have the gate code. The gate code gets set for the year, and it's left the entire year. This is in August. So he should have known the gate code. And he's like, "So can you tell me the gate code? I don't seem to have it." And we're like, "How do you not have the gate code? Do you not work in this area?" He's like, "Yeah, I know. They must have changed it on me." And we're like, "Yeah, it's the same for the whole year. How do you not have it?" And like, and he didn't have a truck. Like, I mean, so arguably he could have been parked at the gate, but it was just weird. And he was dressed in, like, it was like, he was wearing really light clothes. I used to work for the government and law enforcement. They give you gear. Like, they give you the best winter clothes they can and everything. And he was dressed in really light clothing. Like, it was fishy. And counting campsites at midnight. No. And so and the whole time he's looking, he's just like looking around, and yeah, it could have been for safety. So, and he asked us some weird questions. I can't really remember them. I'm trying to keep this brief anyways. So then anyways, he takes off and he goes and he walks around the loop, and we're like, that was weird. Then an hour later or so, we hear a helicopter. And it flies over top of our campground. And all we had was campfire light. And it was so low that the light was reflecting off the bottom of the helicopter. Like, the firelight was reflecting off the bottom of the helicopter. And it looked like, I'm not an aviation guy, but like, it looked like it was black. It was pitch black. It looked like a military helicopter, like something you'd see on TV or a video game. Like, it was just like, looked like military. It was black and had that kind of shape. And no flying lights. Like, no flying lights whatsoever. So my understanding is that helicopters, number one, don't fly at night unless it's very specific circumstances. They never fly without the lights on unless it's like a military operation. So I don't know if that's true, but that's just what I've looked into and found. So that was highly strange. And, there's a lot of talk that the military tracks the Sasquatch and, tries to kill them when they find out where they are. So interesting, because we'd had all those experiences that I talked about in previous videos, and then like for the rest of the time, like that was pretty much it. Like there was nothing, but like so strange. Like, why a helicopter flying so low? Very, very strange. I don't know what to think about that. Even talking about it's just like, wow, that is so bizarre. Anyways, I got 15 seconds. Love you all. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and please share with anybody you think might be interested in this content, because there's going to be a lot more. Love you. Bye-bye.